Hello and welcome to another update on the McMinnville real estate market. My name is Steve Thoele. I'm a principal broker with Premier Property Group. And this update is going to cover the last 8 weeks of market activity ending this past Sunday, February 18th. So let me share my screen with you now and we'll go through things here together. So first off, we'll look at active listing activity. This last week, we had 15 properties come on the market in McMinnville. So kind of a busy week for new listings. You can kind of see that's a high over the past 8 weeks. And in terms of total listings, you can kind of see it's been pretty flat. It hasn't moved a lot. We started at 61 and we had a low of 57 on a couple occasions. This last week had a slight high for the past 8 weeks at 65 homes currently on the market right now in McMinnville. The median list price stays on market for those active listings. You can kind of see the price has kind of been trending down overall over the past 8 weeks. Hit a high of 580 here about a month ago. And this last week kind of hit a low for the past 8 weeks at 530,000. And then days on market, you kind of see that's been trending lower as we've had more new listing activity over the past month. This has kind of come down, started at 61 as a high. And this last week kind of got down to a low of 40 days of average market time right now for these most recent 65 homes on the market. Okay, moving along to pendings. Pending sales. This last week, we had 10 properties get under contract and went pending. You can kind of see that matches a high for the past 8 weeks on a week-by-week basis. And again, pendings, you can kind of see it hasn't been quite as flat, but hasn't been moving a ton. We did have a low of 34 here about 5 weeks back, and it has been kind of climbing over the past 3 weeks now, kind of hitting a high for the past 8 weeks at 45 homes right now are pending in McMinnville. And the median price and days on market for those pendings, you can see we kind of started off being in the mid 440s, and then we dropped down to a low here of 429, and then we've kind of been on the increase, I should say, over the past month here, hitting a high of 463,000 as of this last week. And then days on market for pendings, that's been very flat. You can kind of see it's been between 38 and 41 days over the past 8 weeks. Okay, sold listings. So as of the time I put this together, showed we only had 2 properties last week crossover from pending to sold. That's definitely a low for the past 8 weeks. That might get adjusted up over this next week or so, but that's where we're at right now. And when I look back over the prior 4 weeks of closings on a week-by-week basis, you can kind of see we've been on the increase, had a low of 16 properties that sold here to begin with 8 weeks ago. Over the prior 4 weeks, that had built clear up to 25 homes over the prior 4 weeks, 3 weeks back, and then we have kind of lost some ground here over the past couple of weeks as the number of new closings has been kind of coming down off their little mini peak that they had there. And then the median sold price and days on market for these sold listings, pricing kind of see has been on the way down. Had a high, it's kind of hard to see it here, but a high of 480,000 6 weeks back, and that has dropped down to a low of 419,000 as of this last week for these most recent 18 properties that have sold. And then days on market, you can kind of see that's been bouncing around a little bit. Kind of had a high of 57 both on the front end and back end, and then a low of 46. And then last thing we'll look at here is the weeks of inventory and the sale price as a percent of the original list price. So red bars, that weeks of inventory number, kind of that measure of relative supply and demand. You kind of see we started off at a high of a little over 15 weeks of inventory, and that dropped down to a little below 10 weeks of inventory as the number of closings were kind of ramping up or increasing over the time period. And then it's kind of reversed course since we've kind of had a reduction in closings over the past few weeks. So we're now back up to a little over 14 weeks of inventory right now. So 3.5 months or so right now of inventory in McMinnville based upon current levels of supply and demand. And then the sale price as a percent of the original list price, you can kind of see where that's been tracking. We had a high of about 95.5% here 6 weeks back. That dropped down to a low of 91 just a couple weeks ago, and it did kind of bounce back a little bit this last week to about 93.5%. So about a 6.5% discount on average right now for the most recent homes that have sold in McMinnville. And then to finish it out here, we'll look at interest rate movements here over the past couple of weeks. So last time, 2 weeks ago, when I gave you the last update, we were around about 6.9% for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. This is according to Mortgage News Daily, a site that kind of tracks rate movements on a daily basis. And last week was kind of tough for interest rates. A couple inflation reports came out last week, the CPI and the Consumer Price Index and the PPI, Producer Price Index, and both of those were, as they say, a little hot, a little on the high side and what expectations were. So that definitely caused rates to increase. So we finished out last Friday at about 6.15 or so. So almost about a 1/4% increase over the past couple of weeks in terms of which is certainly not the direction you want to see, but that's kind of where things are standing right now. So anyway, hope that was helpful for you. If I can ever answer questions or be of any help, please don't hesitate to reach out. My phone number, email address are always down below these videos. So give me a call or a text or an email, and I'd be happy to respond. And as always, really appreciate any feedback on these videos. Give them some love with likes, comments, and shares. And hope you have a great day and week ahead, and we will see you on the next update.